today we'll be discussing the pathogenesis of tuberculosis in a quick bit. You need to understand that in a country like India, where already conditions like malnutrition and poverty existed, there has been an increase in the incidence of immunocompromised diseases like diabetes, mellitus, and HIV. Thus, the incidence of tuberculosis has been on an increase. Tuberculosis is a very prevalent infection which forms a huge global burden, and in fact, a country like India does constitute 25% of the global burden. It does constitute 25% of the global burden of tuberculosis, and thus it is very important to understand at least the pathogenetic factor of a prevalent infection like tuberculosis. So we'll start with that. See, when any microbe enters your body, when any microbe like Mycobacterium tuberculosis, it's a rod-shaped bacteria, intracellular bacteria, it will enter into your body. It has to first fight against your innate immunity. Innate immunity, in fact, provides the first hand response to any infectious agent. Innate immunity is constituted by all these components, but today we'll be focusing on these phagocytes because they are a very important component of innate immunity. In fact, it is a very important component in the pathogenesis of tuberculosis. So see, as soon as the Mycobacterium tuberculosis enters into the lung via the airborne method and into the alveoli, they have to fight against the alveolar macrophages. They have to fight against the alveolar macrophages. Now, how can this phagocyte fight against any agent? It has three functions. First, it can lead to fusion of phagosome and lysosome to form phagolysosome, and with the help of these lysosomal enzymes, it is able to kill the bacteria. Next, it can do is generation of free radicals. Generation of free radicals like reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species, which can further kill the bacteria. In order to survive and in fact proliferate inside these alveolar macrophages, the tuberculous bacteria has to evade these mechanisms. So it doesn't allow the fusion of phagosome and lysosome first. Second, it doesn't allow the acidification of lysosome. Third, it doesn't allow the generation of free radicals, and in fact it is resistant to the action of these reactive oxygen and nitrogen species. So by protecting itself against these two important mechanisms, it is able to proliferate inside these alveolar macrophages. Proliferate inside these alveolar macrophages. Third, what can phagocyte do? It can lead to activation of T lymphocyte. It can lead to activation of T lymphocytes, but it takes time. The activation of T lymphocytes and further cell-mediated immunity occurs after 3 weeks. So till 3 weeks, it has a lot of time to be able to proliferate inside these alveolar macrophages and in fact lead to bacteremia and hematogenous spread. Now, if you just remember that it is an intracellular organism, Mycobacterium tuberculosis is an intracellular organism. Can you remember that which type of TH subset it will allow to stimulate? This is a slide from your normal textbook. You can remember it is intracellular microbes. TH1 subset will play a very important role in the pathogenesis of tuberculosis. Yes. So once these alveolar macrophages are able to recognize these foreign agents of Mycobacterium tuberculosis with the help of toll-like receptors and other receptors, it will lead to release of interleukin 12. It will lead to release of interleukin 12, which will stimulate TH1 subset. Once this TH1 subset is stimulated, it will release interferon gamma. It will release interferon gamma, which will lead to granuloma formation. How? We will see it later, but you need to understand it is an intracellular microbe. It is stimulated by interleukin 12 and it causes release of interferon gamma, right? So we'll see. This is alveolar macrophage, which once recognizes these foreign agents with the help of toll-like receptor, in fact TLR2, it will lead to stimulation of interleukin 12 and present the antigen to TH1 subset, which once stimulated will cause release of these cytokines, very important, interferon gamma and TNF. Interferon gamma, once stimulated, will try to restore the function of phagocyte by restoring the phagolysosome fusion, restoring phagolysosome fusion, causing generation of free radicals and allows autophagy of the cell infected. So interferon gamma does help to restore the protective function but only after cell-mediated immunity is stimulated, that is more than 3 weeks. What does this interferon gamma do? It will allow monocyte recruitment and thus macrophage aggregation. It allows macrophage aggregation, and these macrophages will further be transformed into epithelioid macrophages. What are epithelioid macrophages? Macrophages with an epithelial-like appearance are called as epithelioid macrophages. So you understand the importance of interferon gamma in the formation of a granuloma. So only after 3 weeks it will try to restore the protective and the killing function of the phagocyte. But less than 3 weeks it was able to proliferate inside the macrophages. In fact, if the number of bacteria per alveolar macrophage exceeds more than 25 or 30 bacteria, this macrophage will try to kill itself. This macrophage has to undergo death. There are two paths or two methods how this death can occur. Either it can be apoptosis or necrosis. Apoptosis is a physiological process which will cause less destruction, but here the cell has to undergo death by necrosis. Because there is necrosis, there will be increased destruction and in fact seepage of bacteria into circulation. Seepage of bacteria or release of bacteria into circulation, that will lead to hematogenous spread. Hematogenous spread occurs by one, necrotic cell death. Second, while undergoing the transport towards the lymph node via the lymphatics, there occurs further seepage of bacteria into circulation. So second is seepage from lymphatics. These two methods are important methods responsible for hematogenous spread, which occurs only in 5% cases. It occurs in only 5% of the cases, right? So we'll see next, they are rod-shaped, thin, slender, intracellular bacteria. With the help of intracellular, can you remember two important cells are responsible for containment of this infection? Phagocytes and cell-mediated immunity or T cells. Right? So first the microbe will be recognized with the help of toll-like receptor 2. Once they enter into the macrophages, they will replicate by inhibiting phagolysosome fusion and generation of free radicals. Now after 3 weeks, it will be able to stimulate Th1 response, stimulate Th1. Okay, now once Th1 is stimulated, it will lead to macrophage activation and killing of bacteria with the help of cytokines like interferon gamma, and granuloma formation will take place. So we will see less than 3 weeks, it will lead to increased proliferation inside these macrophages by inhibiting phagolysosome fusion and inhibiting the acidification of the lysosomes. That will lead to unchecked bacterial proliferation and in fact can lead to bacteremia and hematogenous spread mainly in a period of less than 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, it will stimulate Th1 mediated immunity by the release of cytokines like interleukin 12. If you remember, it is T helper cell. So which complex will be associated? MHC2. MHC2 will be responsible for the antigen presentation to the T helper cell. Once this cytokine is stimulated, it will lead to activated macrophages, increased nitrogen species radical generation and bactericidal activity, but only after 3 weeks. And further, it will lead to monocyte recruitment and macrophage transformation into these epithelioid macrophages with the central caseous necrosis and a collar of lymphocytes that constitutes your granuloma. And what type of hypersensitivity reaction is this? This is type 4 hypersensitivity, as we have already discussed in our section of hypersensitivity reactions. So you can see this is caseous necrosis. Okay, these are Langerhans giant cells, collar of lymphocytes, and it does constitute a granuloma formation. So I hope you understand the importance of phagocytes and T cell mediated immunity in the pathogenesis of tuberculosis and the importance of cytokines like interferon gamma and TNF or type 4 hypersensitivity reaction in the formation of a granuloma, which is a very important feature of tuberculosis. And in fact, caseous necrosis is also a very important constituent of tuberculosis.